皆様、大変長らくお待ち。
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for waiting. From now, we would like to start the 50th anniversary the ceremony of the High Energy Accelerator Research Organization. And I am the master of ceremony today. My name is Mina Matsuda. Nice to meet you all. The first, representing the organizer, we would like to introduce Dr. Junji Furuhaba, Executive Director of KEK, the High Energy Accelerator Research Organization, to give an opening remark. Thank you very much for joining us on this the ceremony online and on site. And my name is Haba. I'm the Executive Director of KEK. I would like to give an opening remark. And in 1976, the KEK was established as the High Energy Research Center, and we are marking the 50th anniversary this year. And I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all the researchers and also those who have helped us through the research activities over the course of 50 years. And thank you very much for joining us today on site and off site. And we have built the foundation of the high energy accelerator research in Japan. And KEK has now celebrates the 50th year. And I hope that you will enjoy the looking back on history as well as looking into the future through this ceremony. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Next, I would like to call upon the Director General, Dr. Yamauchi of KEK, to give a ceremonial speech. Today, with all these extinguished guests, it is a great pleasure that we are having this 50th anniversary ceremony of the High Energy Accelerator Research Organization today. And thank you very much, all of you, to join us today out of your very busy schedule. And today, due to the COVID situation, we have limited the attendance, and we are conducting this ceremony and on-site and online. This is the hybrid operation. I hope that you will enjoy the ceremony. And the KEK's previous predecessor was the National Laboratory for High Energy Physics, and this has gone to the Institute of Nuclear Research, and then KEK was born as the first of the joint research facility in 1971. And for the past 50 years since then, we have contributed to the development of science using the accelerators with a number of researchers. Since 2004, it has been incorporated, and the way it stands has changed, but the principle of the joint use by university has been has always been the part of our history. And under this principle, we have contributed to the improvement and also maintenance of the research level of Japan, and we are very proud. And such a university joint facility are such facilities as accelerators, which one university alone will not be able to own and operate. And so by installing such a large-scale research facilities, the idea was to help the joint use of the facility, and then assisted the number of joint researches, and we have evolved through time. Under the changes, KEK has improved the functionality of the particle accelerator, and it has been able to play a role as the facility to assist the joint research by university means that this system is useful for the truly academic researchers. And so I would like to express the MEX, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology, and MEX, and all the researchers inside and outside of Japan for the support on KEK over 50 years. And so we have experienced a number of changes in KEK in the past 50 years. The most remarkable change is the fact that the research has globalized. And the number of man days of the overseas researchers staying at KEK and Tokai in total exceeded 30,000 man days. And KEK is now recognized as one of the most leading the accelerator research institute. And we have shifted from the joint university research facility to the international joint research facility, and it also serves as the base camp for the Japanese researchers join the overseas researchers. In particular, the researchers in the high energy physics go in between the countries in search of excellent and a quality research institute in a borderless manner. And so we have seen and witnessed that the number of researchers have made a successful result, and it is all thanks to the support of all the researchers and predecessors and staff members of KEK to allow this global collaboration to happen, and we are very proud of it. And under the COVID situation, there's some stagnation in the field of the circulatory research model, which is borderless, but it is very encouraging that this research community is coming up with the best ideas to let the research carry on. And we would like to change the crisis into opportunities so that even after the COVID crisis, we will establish a new type of research model, and would like to make further effort. And all the research institutions across the world face the same challenges. We would like to together establish a new global research style. And in order to maintain the high level of excellence and advancement in the science and technology in Japan, KEK in the next century will be able to make a very important contribution. And in order to make that happen, we need to progress the accelerator technology, and we need to develop the human resources. And these 2 points are extremely important. And at KEK, we have been selected as the top level research site program, which is progressed by the MEXT, and we are now establishing the quantum field measurement system, and it's an international site, which we call it QP, and this will go across the borders of the industry and academia, and this will be an interdisciplinary study, and we are very much looking forward to it. And in closing, in this 50th anniversary ceremony, we have received quite a large amount of donations from the going concerns as well as the individuals to start up a new project. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank for this donation. And we would like to proceed with the KEK work with the pride and the responsibility. Hope to have your continued support and instruction. And with this, I would like to close my ceremonial speech. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
ここで高エネルギー
Next, we would like to show a video which was produced for celebration of the 50th anniversary of KEK using the precious and old visuals to explain to you the history of KEK. Now, please take a look. So KEK is the research institute that carries out a number of researches. Has marking 50th anniversary in April 2021. And proving the Kobayashi Maskar theory, which was awarded with the Nobel Prize of Physics, which is contributing to the understanding of space, life, and material. And this was inaugurated as the first of the joint research institute of a number of Japanese researchers in the past 50 years, which was elevated to the International Research Institute involving a number of international research community. In 1949, Dr. Hideki Yukawa, for the first time for Japanese national to receive the Nobel Physics Prize, and this encouraged a lot of Japanese citizens which were devastated by the loss in the World War, and this made the opportunity, gave the trigger for a number of young generation to study physics. In 1955, to reestablish the nuclear physics and this facility, the Institute of Nuclear Research, University of Tokyo, was established, and this became the site for the elementary particle study. In 1971, in order to establish and the means for the full-fledged particle physics in Tsukuba Scientific City, the High Energy Accelerator Research Organization, KEK in short, was established. In 1976, for the first time in Japan, there was a large accelerator was established, which was the proton synchrotron, and it has achieved the 12 GeV acceleration and started the study using the proton accelerator, and it was used for the high energy physics area and many other areas until 1980. For the first time, using the pulse proton as a muon source, MSL was established for the first time in the world, and also with the proton accelerator, the proton diffusion system, the CANS, was also established and went into operation. And the proton accelerator was not only used in the high energy physics, but also used in multi-purpose, such as the tumor treatment. And so these have been elevated to the J Park of the high energy, the proton facility. In 1977, the Institute of Nuclear Research, University of Tokyo, and also and this was integrated into the High Energy Accelerator Research Organization, KEK.
Starting from 1978, high-intensity proton accelerator factory was started to be built. In 1982, in March, very first retrieval of the radiation proton was being done. It was back then called Light of Dream. Many international researchers has started to focus on that. Many of the material structures and the electron status was being learned and understood. this was not only in contributing not only to academia, but also different applications in industries. Photon factory was used more than 3,000 researchers across the world. That new technology developed here, and the scientists and researchers who experience here are very much the foundation supporting this cutting-edge technology around the world. In 1987, electron-proton collision research was to be studied by Tristan. More than 300 international researchers got together. This is the very first large-scale international research. Gluon self-interactions or gluon jet qualities were being developed and understood by these projects. 1995 saw the end of the operation of this facility. In 1999, Tristan's tunnel was reused with the KEKB factory. KEKB started its operation on that year. Energies are quite different between proton and electron, but these are collided first time ever in the world. B2 meson and Cern pi meson were being assessed and understood more in details with this facility over 10 years. This proved KEK exists with 3 generations, and Kobayashi-Masukawa theory was being demonstrated with this project. In 2008, Bell's research result was the final nail in making sure that Kobayashi and Masukawa won the Nobel Prize. In 2019, performance for collisions was 40 times better, and the super KEKB actual operation started. Luminosity historical record was broken in 2020. More than 1,000 researchers came in joining this international joint project, leading and keep leading the world of particle physics. In 1999, KEK 12-JEP proton synchrotron was used for creating neutron that was shot 250 kilometers away in Kamiyakan in Gifu Prefecture. Superconductivity was used. This is the first of this kind with the K2K. The artificial neutrino was proven to have neutrino vibration due to this project. In 2009, KEK and JAEA had a joint project in this creation of this facility. This is called J-Park. Proton beams are targeted in creating muon, helping assessing and developing new material, and KMS-1 were used for hadron facilities, and there were many hadron facilities being used for experiments. In 2009, neutrino vibration was the scope of the target to understand fully about it. Neutrino beam was shot 295 kilometers away with Suka Kamino Dam. And the actual experimental data was started to retrieved with more than 500 researchers from 12 different countries around the world, getting to the deep at the bottom of understanding the vibration differences between neutron and anti-neutron. In 1979, KEK made agreement with the Department of Energy of the United States and started the creating framework for international collaboration project. This framework is still making a contribution in the world of particular particle physics, as well as collaboration between Japan and the US. 1990s, KEK started to participate large-scale project internationally. Cern, for example, Atlas project in Cern, as well as many projects were undertaken with KEK's participation. And KEK has grown as a contributor to the world of the science while welcoming many researchers from the world. It became very open research institution over the years. In 1988, these institutions were also used not only the place for the research, but also for the educational purpose to train and educate the young and experienced generations. The Soken Die is being built within KEK as an academic program. KEK has acceleration science, material structural science, particle neutron science. These three are the school of the topics where we are focusing to develop new generational talents. Right now, jointly collaborating with International Research Institute, ILC, also known as International Linear Colliders, are being planned to be built in Japan. This is linear collider underground with 20 kilometers in length so that we can regenerate 1/1,000,000th of the second after the Big Bang so that we can better understand about Big particles. In 2021, KEK celebrates 50 years anniversary of its birth. And this is not end. This is only the middle of the search to make more contribution to the development of the science around the world. Thank you for watching the celebration video celebrating 50 years anniversary. Just give us a minute while we take the stage for the next session.
お待たせいたしました。
Thank you for patience. I'd like to welcome 7 guests of honors to give us words of congratulations. I'd like to first invite Shinsuke Suemasu from Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology, and from Shuichi Sakamoto will be reading on his behalf. Mr. Sakamoto, please. So I'd like to use Minister Suematsu's word. Congratulations very much in having 50 years anniversary celebration at KEK. KEK was started in 1971 as the first high-energy physics research institute. We have restructured and became the individual entity in welcoming many different talents and institutions into doing joint research activities. Celebrating 50th anniversary is proof of long-standing contributions by many of the contributors who came before us. Ever since the launch, the world-leading results were being delivered, but Bell research with the large-scale hadron collider had experimentally proven Mr. Kobayashi, Mr. Masu's theory to be true. And high-intensity Patron Accelerator Facility, jointly managed by JEA, is also helped. Neutrino vibration quality was being conducted. Neutrino, it remains to be the leading result of the world in area of neutrino. Academia and the public and private are also jointly working closely together. Many different patron collider research being done, helping different applications like starting a new material structure. And the talents were also being developed who will be leading the world ahead of us. It is limited in terms of how much we can move across under the pandemic, but KEK has helped virtual collaboration framework. The new working style was also being established by KEK. Also, KEK this year is demonstrating top WPI program that is promoted by MEXT. Hope this will be the start of further advancement of the cutting-edge technology and science, crossing the wall between academia, private and public, and making a huge contribution, we expect, to the field of science in this world. In the end, please, everybody, continue to help support KEK, and please join me in celebrating further success that will be delivered by KEK. November 8th, 2021. Minister of MEXT, congratulations to you all.
坂本様、ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much, Mr. Sakamoto.
ステージ上の転換をいたしますので、少々お待ちください。
Just a minute, we will take the stage into the next session.
それでは次に
I'd like to now run the video for the governor of Ibaraki Prefecture.
茨城県知事の大井川です。
This is Oigawa speaking. I'm a governor of Ibaraki Prefecture. Congratulations for 50 years anniversary at KEK. Now in our prefecture, we have Tsukuba region and Tokai region, both of which are leading centers for the science. KEK has campus in both facilities and having the highest quality collider facilities. This month starts the new research about non-clinical project with the next generational cancer treatment together with Tsukuba University. We have next generation nuclear colliders being built, and we are promoting more advancement of science. Many research institutes and private businesses are using them. There were tangible examples such as all solid-state battery. We hope KEK will keep generating top-class, world-class innovations from KEK. Prefecture will like to continue work closely with you to contribute the better advancement of the science and our prefecture. We hope KEK's research will continue to success and deliver growing result. Thank you very much and congratulations.
大井川様ありがとう。
Thank you very much, Governor Oigawa. Next, we're going to switch the stage, so please wait a few moments. Next, I would like to call upon the President Hideo Ono of Tohoku University. Good afternoon. As introduced, my name is Ono, President of Tohoku University. First and foremost, I would like to congratulate the 50th anniversary of High Energy Accelerator Research Organization. I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations, and I would like to express my deepest respect for all the people who have made extensive effort in the development of KEK, and also all the people who were involved in the basic science working with KEK, which is the joint university facilities. KEK, since its start, has been involved in the excellent research in the world class technology with a very large scale has introduced. It proved through the experiment the Kobayashi-Masukawa theory, and through the number of studies, and determined the Nobel Prize for physics for two researchers, and made a great contribution in the development of high energy physics and also the accelerator science. And with the high energy accelerator, which is very large and the most advanced, has contributed to the condensed matter physics and also the life science related area researchers. And Tohoku University alone has benefited from the high power, the proton accelerator facilities and radiated light experiment facility, and our research activity, thankfully, has been continued. the basic technology for the next generation radiated light facility in the Tohoku University campus owes a lot to KEK. In terms of the human resources development, through the tie-up of the graduate schools and also the summer challenge and cross appointment, the faculty exchange has long been maintained in a very steady manner. And there's the bridge projects such as Tsukuba Innovation Arena. We are working with the KEK for the joint researches and programs in which the multiple organizations are involved. As Tohoku University, an example, KEK has been a leading facility and the organization to help the university researchers and also to creation and the continuation of the knowledge and to develop the high level human resources and contributed to the development of the basic science. Having said that, the road to these successes has never been easy, and I am an outsider, but I'm fully aware of it. In the High Energy Physics Research Institute, which is the predecessor of KEK, was involved in the negotiation with the governments and municipalities and to try to take a balance with other the study areas and have gone through and overcome a number of difficulties. And only, quarter of a century after the end of the war, the establishment of the KEK was made possible. And in 15 years after establishment, the highest level of energy was materialized by KEK, and the efforts were paid off. But the hardship of the predecessors have experienced the construction of the large-scale accelerator, and their maintenance and development came with a number of difficulties, and these are not the thing of the past. And this 50th anniversary is, in a sense, is a milestone, and in order to share the society for the future. The KEK should overcome the number of difficulties which can happen going forward, and so that this excellent work will be carried on, which was cultivated by the predecessors, and with the further progress in the basic science, and in order and also enriching and enhancing the large-scale facilities. And at the same time, foster the creative human resources. I hope that the KEK will keep contributing to the human society as a leading facility of the basic science which leads the world. With this, I would like to end my speech. And once again, congratulations for this 50th anniversary. Thank you very much, President Ono.
Next, I'd like to invite Hiroki Aihara from the University of Tokyo. Mr. Aihara. This is Aihara. Well, congratulations at the anniversary of the 50 years at KEK. I'd like to make a few remarks. I have been long years the beneficiaries of KEK's contribution. Out of 50 years, I am a researcher which is a great beneficiary from KEK over the last 43 years of my profession. I was working with the Dr. Kamayaki and Dr. Fujii, also known as the Fujii Kamai Research Office, together with Yamauchi-san. And I joined this project as a graduate school student with Yamauchi-san. The proton synchrotron second beam was just being completed. In that office, next to our office is Dr. Masatoshi Koshiba, who's also doing their research. In my study group, we are assessing the minimum energy required for proton beam being targeted on hydrogen to create antiproton. This is usually asked in the university verbal testing. By the way, the minimum was 7 giga-electron volt. But this experiment is the start of my profession. Everything was brand new and exciting. Big accelerator that is new and shiny makes me exciting all the time. But Tsukuba back then, if I remember, the streets were very dark back then. I personally like brighter night. KEK has made steps, as you all know, as the journey. I went to Toba's project with using Tristan, or Bell project with KEKB, or Bell 2 project with Super KEKB project. These are the few examples of projects that I have participated with. Also, J-Park and Proton Synchrotron were being generating neutrino beam, and I was also taking part in that project. And together with KEK, hyper Kamiyakan plants were being promoted, and I was also part of the project and the next generation neutrino research project. Super KEKB and J-Park were all started from accelerator research work that are brought by KEK, which started 50 years ago. Over the course of 50 years, many scientists, many engineers, as well as people capable of managing huge international projects were being built. All those talents were very active in contributing society inside and out Japan. KEK delivered so many talents. I remember Yoji Tozuka's words, who said, "Research Institute will not add any value unless we deliver the result." This might be a tough pressure, but KEK lived up to it over the course of 50 years history by delivering new understanding about basic science, accelerator technology, and also applications where society can benefit. Also generated wide breadth of many talents. I am very proud that I took a part in this community delivered and produced by KEK. As Michi-san has mentioned earlier, internationalism and the complete transparency, meaning KEK is a very open institution. Basic science big project were led together with international researchers communities, and international visibility has stepped up for Japan, invited diverse set of different backgrounds, including nationality, gender, languages. KEK provided platform where we can have open and very productive dialogues across different talents in different backgrounds. I think this is not exaggeration to call KEK a treasure and jewel of Japan, as well as the world. Communities developed by KEK are a group of people who love to take new challenges, who love to learn from the bigger society, collecting different backgrounds of people and take risk if necessary. And this community always make advancement to the front. And this community, and KEK is the core of the community, I am sure will develop the new and the better world for the next 50 years to come. I am a small member of this great community, but as I myself would like to thank everybody in KEK and everybody who supported KEK and congratulate for the last 50 years. Thank you very much and congratulations.
原様ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much.
次に
Next, we would like to call upon Dr. Takaki Kajita from the Institute for Cosmic Ray Research, University of Tokyo, and would like to read his speech on his behalf. And today, congratulations on the 50th anniversary of KEK, the High Energy Accelerator Research Organization. And the KEK has carried out the number of scientific researchers using the accelerators as the joint university facility. And on the other hand, the Institute for Cosmic Ray Research of the University of Tokyo is a center for the joint international research to observe the particles which is accelerated in the space accelerator. And although we may be studying different areas of the study, the high energy accelerator research and also the cosmic ray research has been connected. And at the end of 1978, the Professor Hirotaka Sugawara of KEK at the time called the Professor Toshihide Koshiba of the Faculty of Science of Tokyo University and to request the report on the proton decay. And this led to the ideas by Dr. Koshiba about the proton decay experiment. And eventually, KEK has joined the joint research, and in Kamioka, the Kamioka nucleon decay experiment, Kamiyakan was established. And since 1983, the Kamiyakan experiment was started. Kamiyakan, as everybody knows, observed the neutrino from the supernova explosion in 1987, and then so Kamiyakan would observe the solar neutrino and indicated that the number of neutrino number is smaller than the theoretical model, and also the mu neutrino was observed to be smaller in numbers than the ambient neutrino, which will be created with the collision of the cosmic ray with the nuclide in the atmospheric atmosphere, and thus led to the finding of the neutrino oscillation. And with the anomaly of ambient neutrino, they made the neutrino using the KEK proton accelerator, and so they measured the neutrino 250 kilometers away. And Professor Koichiro Nishikawa of KEK made a proposal, and this was called later to K2K, and they started the construction of a neutrino beam line in 1996, and experiment was started in 1999, and for the first time the neutrino oscillation was confirmed using the accelerator experiment. And in 2000, in the main ring accelerator at J Park in Tokai, Ibaraki, they created the neutrino with the super Kamiyakan. They went to the next generation neutrino oscillation experiment, and for the first time the neutrino oscillation from the mu neutrino to the electron neutrino in 2011 for the first time in the world. And as such, since 1990s, the KEK and the Cosmic Ray Research Institute has been creating a lot of successful results. And considering the next 50 years, KEK and the Institute for Cosmic Ray Research will have an even stronger tie. And in the Kamiyakan towns, Super Kamiyakan, so they're building the hyper Kamiyakan, which will have the 8 times more the fidelity than the Super Kamiyakan with the hyper optic sensor. And so they are considering to enhance the J-Park as well to increase the neutrino beam power. And there's a lot of expectation that they may be able to prove that there's no antimatter by using the neutrino oscillation study. And congratulations once again for the 50th anniversary of KEK, and have a lot of expectation for more successes in the coming years. Thank you.
それでは次に国立研
Next, I'd like to invite Counselor to the President, Japan Science and Technology Agency, Michiharu Nakamura, will give us the commemorative talk. Mr. Nakamura, please. Thank you for the kind introduction. My name is Nakamura. I'd like to congratulate 50 years anniversary of KEK. Ever since the science revolution of 17th century, physics, science, and optical engineering, there are many developments in advancement of the science have made a great contribution to the advancement of human being, and the intelligence frontiers were being developed. Having theoretical hypothesis, use that hypothesis to observe, experiment, to better understand the law of the nature. That modern science approach has been quite well established. 1971, when KEK has started in 1972, it went expansion of that structure to become an iconic institution of Japan, who was trying to become scientific powerhouse in the world, became a frontier for the knowledge of the human being, and also expanded those knowledges into different applications in the world. Dr. Kobayashi and Dr. Masuda have won the Nobel Prize, and Photon Factory, which was just introduced sometimes a few minutes ago. I was working in a private business developing a semiconductor. That facility was very useful for development of product. As the right now, we are faced with many challenges that are very existential. Human beings are required to create more innovations to make sure human beings can survive in this challenge. And international collaboration is much more important than 50 years ago. Research environment has changed over the course of last 50 years. But KEK has great capacity around particle physics, material science, as well as others, to make a new type of contributions to not only to the science but all to the bigger society. KEK in this century has started working with JSEA to start the J-Park, to have a Hadron Collider front and a material science front, working with both government and private businesses to be at the cutting edge of the development technology. and two different types of particles are being collided so that we can now better assess in details about what would happen. This facility, from the very onset, was used and being open by private businesses. This helped improvement of lithium-ion battery as well, to name a few. But these are all important contribution to carbon neutrality. This result can help promote high efficiencies that this world needs for sustainability. And as representing private businesses, I'd like to thank you very much for this facility being very open. And the function analysis will be expected to be focused on different type of particles. And proton quantum research project was being opened with the multi-probes approach. We are excited to see more wonderful scientific findings to be done. So you are symbolic example of advanced science capability of Japan, and I'd like to be very excited about next 50 years of KEK. Congratulations and thank you.
中村様、ありがとう。
Thank you. That was Nakamura-san. Thank you.
少々お待ちください。では最後に
And lastly, we would like to have the message from the Dr. Fabiola Gennady, the president of Cern.
Sorry that I can't be with you on this special day, but be assured that I'm with you in spirit. KEK is an old friend. It was in the 1980s that scientists from KEK and from the Japanese particle physics research community more generally started to come to Cern. Over the years, many Japanese physicists have taken part in experiments at Cern, while scientists from Cern member states have played full roles in the experimental program at KEK. But it was with the Large Hadron Collider that KEK and Cern became particularly close partners. When Japan took the decision in the mid-1990s to contribute to the LHC project, KEK collaborated with Fermilab in the US to produce some of the accelerator's most challenging superconducting magnets, the so-called inner triplets, which provide the final focus of the beams before they collide. By virtue of these crucial contributions, Japan became an observer state with special rights of the Cern Council in 1995 and has played a full part in the discussions of the Council relevant to the LHC ever since. On the experimental side, KEK worked with 14 other Japanese institutes on the Atlas experiment, contributing to the construction and operation of the superconducting solenoid, N-cap muon trigger system, and silicon semiconductor tracker. As the LHC progresses towards its high luminosity phase, KEK is continuing its commitment to the project, constructing beam separation magnets. Today, scientists from KEK take part in many experiments at Cern, ranging from the Atlas collaboration at the LHC to an A61 at the SPS and a range of experiments at Isolde. Cern is also engaged with work with KEK for neutrino physics through Cern Neutrino Platform, while Bell 2 and T2K are recognized experiments at Cern, giving them access to Cern know-how. Cern and KEK have much in common, and to recognize this, we were pleased to establish a KEK office at Cern and a Cern office at KEK in November 2014. These offices are designed to foster collaboration on accelerator R&D activities of mutual interest, including for potential future hadron and lepton facilities. A framework agreement between Cern and KEK supports the International Linear Collider International Development Team, which was formed in August 2020 by ICFA to facilitate the transition to the pre-laboratory phase of the ILC. We have relished your successes over the years, taking inspiration from experiments such as the long baseline neutrino experiment, T2K, of those at the Tristan, KEK-B, and Super KEK-B accelerator, and we cheered when Makoto Kobayashi, along with Toshihide Matsukawa, shared the Nobel Prize for Physics in 2008 with Oikiro Nambu. Today's anniversary is an opportunity to celebrate the special relationship that exists between our laboratories and to wish KEK a very brilliant future.
ファビオラ様、ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Fabiola-san.
しましたご覧
That was our guest of honors who gave us commemorative comments. Thank you very much. We actually are welcomed by many more guest of honors. We should have asked you to make comments, but we'd like to just introduce who they are because of the time limited. Hoshida Koji from Congress of Ibaraki Prefecture.
茨城県
Kazuya Tsukamoto, Congressman from Prefecture of Ibaraki.
つくば市議会議
Miba Yamamoto from Tsukuba City Council Assembly.
在日ジョージア大使館ティムラズ・レ
Timlas Lejava, who is a special proxy to minister from Georgia State.
リア共和
Pierre Bonaric from the Embassy of Bosnia.
在日フランス大使館科学技術参事官リリエ・マーティ
Lydia Marti Dush from Embassy of France.
駐日トルコ共和国大使館一等商務参事官ムラット・ヤプジュス
Murat Yavc from Embassy of Turkey.
駐日トルコ共和国大使館商務参事官グジデ・セイネプ
Guzde Zeynep Karahissi from Embassy of Turkey.
在日ウクライナ大使館一等書記官経済科学技術協力デニス・ヤコ
Denis Yakubinov from Embassy of Ukraine.
在日ロシア連邦大使館ウラジーミル・オシポフ様
Vladimir Ospov from Embassy of Russia.
以上ご来賓の皆
Those are our guest of honors today.
また本式典
And today we have also received many telegraphs of congratulations. I'd like to read them.
エネルギー加速
Congratulations at 50 years anniversary at KEK. The heads as well as all the stakeholders around KEK goes with the huge respect to you. Today, I hope will be the great starting point to continue to become the top running leader in today and get down to the bottom of the scientific truth. Former Ministry of Text, Yanagi Shinogi.
続きまして高エネルギー加速周年記念式典のご盛会
Congratulations for the 50 years anniversary at KEK. Mr. Yamauchi, as well as all the teams. Please take my appreciation and respect to you. And I'm very excited for you to expand on your scientific front. And at the close, I'd like to pray for everybody's success. Ayano Kunimitsu, who's the Diet member at Lower House.
この度は創設50周年という
Congratulations for the milestone 50 years anniversary. And also thank you very much for pushing the science to the front. Your research are contributing and taking a huge role in the development of science. KEKs comes with a huge significance in the city of Tsukuba. And KEK is recognized as Tsukuba Educational Meister. KEK Science Cafe and online children project are just among the few examples of great contribution to development of children. KEK and Tsukuba, who is the bright city of the future, could create our future together. We appreciate the leadership of Mr. Yamauchi. Under his tenure, we hope to see more development at KEK. That was Tatsuo Igarashi, the mayor of Tsukuba.
この度創立50周
Congratulations for 50 years anniversary.
国内外の先端科学研究
Great contribution goes with huge respect that help both internal and outside of Japanese development. And we hope to see more successes coming from KEK. Shimoji Kenjiro, who is the congressperson at Prefecture of Ibaraki.
年誠におめ
Congratulations for 50 years anniversary. I sincerely hope for more development of success. That was Shoji Nishio, from professor at the University of Osaka.
多数
We actually have received many letters and telegraphs, but for the interest of time, I'd like to just introduce their names only.
国立大
Yamamoto Fumio, president of Kita University, president of Okinawa, Masaru Fujigawa, president of Shinshu University, Soichiro Yamamoto, Yasushi Ishikawa, the president of Tsukuba University, president of Toyama University, Shigeru Saito, Nagaoka Technological Institute, the president, Shigeharu Kamado. Nara Women's School, the president, Nara Ibaoki. Zenichi Inazaki, chairman of Adhesive Association of Japan. Tetsuya Kaihoko, the president and director of response. And Hu Shushan, the Chinese Institute of Science from Moscow University. Edward Boost. Thank you very much once again for those of you who have sent the letter and telegraphs. And we have received a product of celebrations highlighting the 50 years journey here.
台湾の
From Taiwan, Liu Guifei from Taiwan at the National Institute of Advanced Beam Technology for Shuseng have given us a gift. I'd like to thank you on behalf.
それでは続きまして
With that, I'd like to now ask 3 people to make a keynote speech. First, I'd like to ask former President Sugawara.
様は
And Dr. Hirotaka Sugawara is the specialist of theoretical study in particle physics and has made an excellent track record in a wide area, a wide range of the particle physics. And he was the first president of the National Laboratory for High Energy Physics, and also the first director general of the KEK, and he contributed to the planning and the materialization B factory, and also the long baseline neutrino oscillation experiment materialization and the J-Park construction. And he has received a medal with a purple ribbon with his contribution as the theoretical physics. And he's going to give a presentation, a past and future 50 years of KEK. Well, thank you very much for the kind introduction. In particular, in regards to the past, there should be some objectivity, but when we talk about the future 50 years, this is not something I can decide. And purely, this is my own personal view, which I'm about to present. And I hope that there'll be young researchers in the field who will determine the future. And eventually, the research is supported by the government fiscal budget. So that means that the Japanese national the citizens are supporting it. But I would like to express my own feelings and my thoughts. So let's talk about the past. So in a nutshell, really nutshell, and I have about 20 minutes. And so if I am to talk about the past, I think it's going to take hundreds of pages just to give you a list of all the successful researches. So I will be touching upon only a small fragments. And here, I would like to talk about the high energy physics area. KEK was created mainly as an institute for high energy study. And as have been mentioned by the speakers before me, for the neutron facility for material science is also covered, and also another material science area, and also chemical and biological science, and the semiconductor-related engineering. And so these are encompassed in the field of photon science. And also the radiated light facility is also constructed as a related facility. In particular, with the X-ray, this is a very strong X-ray which cannot be replaced without the accelerator. And in this area in particular, the KEK has been playing a very advanced role. And here, you can see the pictures of two gentlemen, and Tetsuji Nishikawa and Shigeki Suwa, for me, are the founding fathers for my study area. On the right is Professor Suwa. On the left is Professor Nishikawa. And Suwa-sensei was focused on the experiment of high-energy physics, whereas Dr. Nishikawa focused on the construction of accelerator. And these two scholars created the 12 JEV accelerator, which is the first accelerator, and also the Tristan. And they worked together to materialize all these facilities. So here, this is my personal view. In particular, Dr. Nishikawa, well, when I was still the only a rookie at National Laboratory for High Energy Physics. There's a Dr. Takahiko Yamanouchi, who graduated from the University of Tokyo. And I was once invited to his home. And at that time, Dr. Yamanouchi said that so out of the students of his time at University of Tokyo, there were 2 excellent students, and one of them was Dr. Nishikawa, and the other was the mentor when I was in a graduate school, and in particular, Dr. Nishikawa used to study all the classes that he didn't even need, but then he had a top score, whereas so my mentor was also won the top score. So Dr. Nishikawa is one of the most excellent students. And also, Dr. Suo was a very quiet man, and he was a Christian, and he was, as I said, in the National Laboratory for High Energy Physics. The outcomes will require hundreds of pages to note, but I would like to mention the notable performances. And one is the 12-JEB proton cyclotron in 1970s. For the first time in Japan, or the world's first long baseline neutrino experiment. And since the construction, only after 20 years after construction, for the first time in the world, the long baseline neutrino experiment was conducted 20 years after establishment, meaning that from Kamiyakan to Kamiyakan, the KEK beam was sent, and this was I think that was the longest distance and the strongest beam in the world at that time. And the Kamiyakan facility, the Kamiyakan Nucleon Decay Experiment facility, was constructed first as a KEK property, and in 1980s, Tristan. So this is the positive electron accelerator was established, and in 1990s, B factory. So this was modified into B factory, as has been mentioned. With this B factory, CPV experiment, the CP vibration experiment was successfully conducted, and then the KM Kobayashi Matsukawa Nobel Prize. So this led to KM Nobel Prize, and you can see the pictures of 12-JEV magnet alignment work, and also eventually there was a completion of 12-JEV, and you can see the moments of celebration for achieving that great outcome. And this picture was from the inauguration of Tristan machine. So this was a ceremony, as a groundbreaking ceremony of the construction of Tristan. On the far right is the Professor Nambu and his excellent wife, and also from the accelerator center, you can see the Dr. Panofsky and his excellent wife. And in the middle, you can see Dr. Nishikawa. And this is from the celebration of completion of B factory. In the middle, you can see Dr. Koshiba. And on the right, Dr. Richter, who was the head of the Stanford Research Institute. And from this point forward, I would like to express my personal thoughts over the future of KEK. Now, the world of high energy physics is no longer have the affinity to be conducted as national projects. The necessary accelerator machines have become so large and expensive for a single country to take care of it. And therefore, we would need for the high energy physics area, we need to go for the World Laboratory. And ITER project is one of the models. And ITER in itself has a lot of challenges and difficulties. So ITER can be a point of reference, but I don't think we can copy the ITER model for the World Laboratory construction and for high energy physics. So I believe that first step may be the ILC and collider. And so in the Kitakami Mountains in Iwate Prefecture, the idea was to, so there's a world community agreed to build it in Japan. Interlinear collider, as said, the colliders has a 10 kilometers times 10 kilometers, and they're there to collide the negative and positive, the electron and positron, and so it needs to be increased to the more than 100 and double of the 120 JeV, and the cost is going to be several $1 billion. So one country alone will not be able to build this. So then, what's going to happen to KEK then? If ILC is approved by the Japanese government, then can KEK contribute to medical science, for example? And then, so what will be the kind of science then KEK will be contributing to? So the idea is medical science, for example, and my answer is yes. So my time is running out. So you may be familiar with this. So the cancer stem cell theory is something I would like to talk about. In the cancer cells, there's the hypoxia is found. This is a very local, small area disease, and so in this concentrated area, the either radiation or the tumor treatment drugs can be charged to this area, and the hypoxia area can be prevented, and metastasis of the cancer can be prevented. And in order to concentrate the accelerator beam to that local region, in a very limited drug region, and also this is an unaddressed issue in a drug delivery. And in fact, myself, for 6 years, I studied in Oisuka in Okinawa, and in particular DMCT, the BMCT, boron neutron cancer therapy, and by using a neutron beam. So send the boron first to that the local area, and also let the boron stick to the stem cell. And by casting the neutron beam, then the stem cells can be destroyed. And there are many other X-ray based therapies. So a possibility is to use the radiation, and also muon goes through the human body, and this can be utilized to use the microscope. Basically, can replace the current electronic microscope. And another version. Due to time constraint, I'm going to skip this. So there's the physical, the medical use is a possibility. Another potential is the quantum computer based on accelerator. So this is a very ambitious idea. So use the quantum computation for an accelerator. And also, there's an accelerator-driven subcritical nuclear reactor, and so there's a possibility of a subcritical nuclear reactor. There are so many things we can do. I have some explanation about the quantum computing, and there's a C0 circuit. Once this is created, then quantum computing will be made possible in a theory. And the actual, the C0 circuit circle is shown here. I'm going to skip the explanation, but this is the C0. There are 3 types of signals to 2 targets, and so the C0 circuit is quite possible. We have studied this, but this is a very extremely difficult project, but there is a potential there. And another is the accelerator-driven subcritical nuclear reactor, and naturally the nuclear power is in a less favorable situation, and one of the reasons is the high level the radioactive waste, and with the accelerator-driven subcritical nuclear reactor can treat or process the high level radiological rad waste, and J-Park is about to start. And when we first planned the J-Park, this was the one of the main projects or the main ideas, and there are some other ideas. As I said, ILC approval has to come first, but as a new KEK, I hope that it will adopt to the changes in time to apply the accelerators in a wide range of disciplines. And I this is my wish that KEK will do this. As I said, I hope that young people will come up with new ideas and not an old person like me. And I hope that you will get the consent of the Japanese citizens for this ILC. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Sugawara.
Now, I'd like to invite Honorary Professor Emeritus of KEK, Makoto Kobayashi, will give us a presentation. Makoto Kobayashi is being former Director General, former BOD member at KEK. He is right now Honorable Professor Emeritus. He is performed with wonderful advanced results in high energy stage. Especially Kobayashi Masukawa theory is almost very known about theoretically proven, and quark was identified and forecasted. There were 6 different types of quark, and jointly together with Yoshihide Masukawa have won Nobel Prize. With the Bell project back in 2001, B meson and anti-B methods have even proven the evidence of the validity of Masukawa Kobayashi theory. Like he will be presenting on the topic of B traffics. This is Kobayashi speaking. Very nice to meet you. So as honor to be given this opportunity to speak for 50 years anniversary event. I was asked to create a title for this presentation. This sounds like a formality, but I will mostly talk about my personal experiences in my talk here. So now, the very first time I went to KEK campus in Tsukuba City was back in 1975. So that was 4 years after the opening of the facility. But it's very, I was having a hard time remembering what year that was. But I went to library and found this documentation where the very first Tristan project workshop was being held on physics aspects. And you see with the small font, it says 1975, June 23 and 24. I just found this documentation. And I went to KEK to join this workshop. That was the very first day. So that proves, then give me confidence that was indeed back in 1975. And so this is how KEK back then looked like. This is the aviation photo taken in 1975. So from the sky, the accelerator looks like it's almost complete, but back then the accelerator actually hasn't started its operation yet. And the proton accelerator, before it starts operation, the next project, which is the Tristan discussions are already started. And at the day of the workshop, we discussed about this Tristan project. This Tristan is 3 rings. It's a subsurface 3 rings, electron, proton collision, as well as electron and proton collisions were going to be tested. And feasibility aside, they wanted to explore as much possibility as possible to explore the any potential result. And the workshop was held in this building. As you can see, this is the building number 2. That was a very brand new satellite building. But this land before KEK was a golf course. And so the administrative office was working from the golf clubhouse for the golf course. You actually saw that in the very beginning video. It's a wooden clubhouse. And pavement was not being not completely paved. You have to drive on a gravel road. And ever since then, I visited KEK a few times since then. And 1979 in July, and I was recruited at KEK for theoretical team. Theoretical team was led by Sugawara-san. It's a very small group of people, very feel at home. But a very engaging day-to-day discussion were being held, and journals was introduced in the morning, and we discussed throughout the lunch, throughout the entire afternoon. It reminisces me very much. So now talking about Tristan plans. When I came to the Tristan project, that year, the strategy was being fixed to make a collision between electron and proton. And the brochure was supposed to be being designed and built. My first responsibility is to join the team who is responsible for creating that brochure. And this is the brochure that I was taking part in creation of. So that was Tristan's high energy. You see the ring, the tunnels were going to be constructed. And so in 1970s, new particles were being identified: charm quark, bottom quark, lepton, also the third generational tau being identified. So top quark, the number 6, was people thought we can immediately discover them. And Tristan's biggest objective was the identification of top quark. And within that Tristan's energy range, if we can identify top quark, then this should look like this, and we have actually included that in that brochure. You see KEK at the very bottom. That's the Tristan project, and in the middle of that we have top quark and anti-top band state. That's the goal to identify under this project. If being found, we can just arithmetically be able to assess that is how the peak and the width are going to look like. But there are no tangible results. This is just a hypothetical dream. And now, Tristan project itself started in 1981 when the building project had started that year. And 1986 is the year when the actual experimentations got started. Now, Tristan project, together with the development of a Tristan project, KEK also grew very fast. So we had physical study group number 1, number 2. So 2 study groups, 2 teams were being built. And 1989, Nishikawa-san was replaced by Sugawara-san as the new Director General then, and I became the chief scientist for scientific physical group, study group number 2. And that is quite a big development for my career. Tristan project. Just a minute. Yes, the Tristan. When it was completed, the target was the highest energy in the world, and they delivered wonderful results. But back then, top quark was not included within the Tristan's energy scope. So we are now then discussing about what would be the project after Tristan. And then what came out was the B factory plan. And the V factory, if you look back at the entire history of KEK, this is a wonderful project with a wonderful result. And I myself was very much deeply involved with this project. So I'd like to just share you a little more details about this B factory. So B factory plan's objective, physiological objective, is the understand the mechanism of synchronicity violation of CP. So what does it mean when the synchronicity symmetry are broken with CC? Just simply put, is there any essential difference between particle and anti-particle? That is the breakup of symmetry of CP. It was not 1932 when we found out there is such a thing called anti-particle, but over the next 30 years, particle and anti-particle will be identical. It's like a mirror shape of the other side of the mirror. That's that thought. So it's equal. It's equal. Therefore, it's completely symmetric. But back in 1964, K mesonin, one of KL. And that can be broken up with 2 pi particles. So that is the symmetry of CP. The why the symmetry is broken with CP, and I'm not getting to the detail. But if there's a symmetry, there's no such a thing. So that was a huge event when that meson was being found. But I was still a student at college. And I never found new find. I went to graduate school later to do my research, but my CP symmetry was not the central research subject of the particles. But back in 1970, this CP became more attention, and I thought, what can we do to make expand our understanding about these 6 mesons? If we have 6 quarks, then it may logically start to make sense. That's my thought process. So when you talk about CP symmetry breakout, you talk about the asymmetry of the universe. Why we only have material and anti-material? You may think about that, but when the CP symmetry was first broken to be 1964, not too many people thought about material and the anti-material state of the universe. So Saharon paper is quite known, which talks about for asymmetry of the universe to exist, we have to break up the symmetry for CP. But that was found in 1967 after symmetry of CP was broken. And it was not really well known. I myself didn't know about this paper, but what was in my head was K mesons symmetry, breakup of symmetry. But I was very fortunate because I didn't know about the paper. Because if I start to think this is important question about the existence of universe, then I'll be dealing with much more complicated discussion. I would never be able to put my thought around that much more simplified logics. in reality, so the K meson found identified the symmetries being broken in for CP with the K mesons. But to validate that, you need to use B mesons as a particle, especially the one without G-link. So Sanda-san and the team has proposed that we should research about it because B mesons are, so K meson and a B mesons are like a brother, K meson. So it's just only one type is different, very similar to K mesons. But Sanda-san was hypothesizing that B mesons will probably have a big inconsistent in symmetry. So we wanted to do that, but to do so requires, it's not going to be easy because very advanced energy collider are required with two different energies. How can you have a great layout that makes sense? And there are many drawings in drawn too, but in the end, having two rings within Tristan was the decision, and I think it was just 1975 where the ring construction has just got started. Back then, every summer, we had an off-site meeting with the team to talk about B factory study sessions are being held. And this is a kind of event trying to avoid the hot, miserable heat of the big city. This was a very popular event. A lot of researchers came in from different parts of the Japan and the world. It was 1993. This is a photo taken of. And B factory construction project started in 1994, almost at the same time. Stanford Linear Accelerator Center from California in the U.S. started to build their B factory. So SLAC is very well known for their advancement in the accelerator. So very tough competition started. So KEK was slightly behind. But in the end, the quality of the facility was on par with the one with the SLAC, proving the advancement of KEK. The experiment started in 1999, and the CP symmetry break was found in 2001. And I, from 2002 to 2003, I was Director General at KEK. Every year when we are going through the budgeting process, and I was asked to go to JIAC, I was asked to explain why we need to use so much budget. That was the peak time of our experiment because we are doing a lot of findings. So yes, many tough questions are being made to me about the reason why we need this much of investment. The factory's operation closed in 2010, and then it now after the Super K EKB project started, and KKB project is just as in KKB delivered a great result. But I wanted to share you on the detail. I don't have time to do that. But when the electron makes a collision, then antiparticles get generated. It get boosted to the electron, but hundreds of microns of a second. It gets decayed very quickly, and the decay happens within the pipe. But after decay, we measure from outside of the pipe to identify where the breaks-up happen. That inversion just made, and the behavior is different from particle versus antiparticle. That's basically the premise of this experiment. And this is the result of the experiment where you see the blue and red. So where the breakup happened. for B particle or anti-B particle, where the behaviors are slightly different. And this experiment was made a great success, proven that yes, it's true that synchronicity is being broken up. It's so CP symmetry was being found decades ago, and this is quite a big finding since then. But we went to more quantitative exercise to prove that mechanism that we hypothesized was proven. This is additional quantified evidence to support that. And one of the things that we found is the B meson, K mesons, CP symmetries were being identified. There were 6 different types of quarks that are proven, that we can physically proven, and that can explain that hypothesis. So back in 2008, we were honored to receive a Nobel Prize for that. And but the CP symmetry break that's not the end of the story about that, because there is another question: why universe is constructed with the material and anti-material? And CP breakup mechanism alone will not explain that, because there are unknown CP breakup mechanisms that nobody knows on this planet right now. Well, Super KEKB or T2K or using neutrino are all targeting understanding of that question as one of the targets area. So the world beyond the standard model is a huge questions that we are embarking on right now. And the CP question is only a part of this bigger question. But that means that means also it's a key step in solving this question. And I'm very excited. One would be very excited to see what kind of findings this project will deliver. Compared with Europe or US, Japanese high energy development was started very slow at the beginning. But KEK's research is right now her turn itself into leading research institute around high energy. This is like a dream coming true. And I am a theoretical researcher. I'm not directly involved with those projects, but I am very honored to be able to closely observe such a development led by KEK. I would hope even further developments and success of KEK in the next 50 years to come. Thank you very much.
小林様、ありがとうございました。
Thank you, Dr. Kobayashi. Next, the last speaker is the specially appointed professor of Tokyo University of Technology, Institute of Technology, the Dr. Hosono is now working as the specially appointed university, and so IGZO, which is the transparent amorphous, which enables the high bright LED, and in number of areas he has been successful in creating positive results, and also he has announced that in 2020 that the nitrogen pore, how easy it is to be formed, is the indicator of the ammonia synthesis activation. And today he's going to talk about the material study and the quantum beam. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. My name is Hosono, And so I'm going to talk about not the high energy, but I experiment on the low energy. And recently, Sakamoto-san is away now, but about 10 years ago, MEXT started the element strategy project. And our university worked with the NIMS and KEK to work on this study, and I would like to share with you one of the findings. And so when we talk about the element strategy, this is not about the rare element and or the alternative of the rare element. This is not something that we're talking about. So what the world wants is the function, and so when there's an element determined, then there's a function determined, and the number of elements is fairly limited, and there's in the structure of the element that comes between the element and function, many things can be modified to attain certain functions. And so one thing that is crucially important is to renew the image, the traditional image of the elements. And by overturning the norm, we may be able to materialize the epoch-making new material. And this may be replacing the rare metal or rare materials or elements. And so the industry is the dojo for practice or the training for academic work, and this is something Dr. Kotaro Honda said. And so basically it has to be the industry where the academic ideas or work is to be proven, and not just on the paper. And hydrogen, and in the element chart, the hydrogen is actually in the middle, because hydrogen, there are three types: H+, H0, and H-. And H- actually has been overlooked. I think it is very important. And what's very important about H- is the size changes. With a proton, it doesn't change, but with the H0, it's the Bohr, the radius, but the H-, it becomes much larger. The charges changes. Charges change, and the size changes as large as oxygen. And in fact, in the space, the hydrogen is most abundant. And what can we make out of hydrogen? And there's a carbon free. Actually, depends on the use of hydrogen, I think. So to start with, I would like to talk about the superconductivity, and I believe many of you know, in order to make the hyperconductivity, we need to make for momentarily the electron to be absent. But there's the element with the magnetism actually is hard to become the superconductive, and so the nickel, for instance, is considered as the worst element to become magnetic. And maybe 20 or 30 years ago, we looked into the copper superconductive element. We tried to make it with the iron and the oxygen combination. It didn't work. But when we changed however, what comes to next to the iron, the SR, for instance, then we don't have to do anything about the superconductivity. So here's the spin. And so we changed the iron to arsenic, and replaced a part of the oxygen to fluoride. Then we found the superconductivity. So the ferrous superconductivity in 2018 made such a buzz. 2008 rather. In 2008 was a very exciting year, and in February 2008. This was found, and this was published in April 2008. And in the meantime, so then this paper issued in April was referred to or cited 900 times, which is incredible. And so there's a record. It was a record high citation of this paper. And the ferrous material used to be thought that it will never make the superconductivity, but then this discovery led to further discovery of more ferrous material to be superconductive, and also the phase diagram was announced. And in the case of superconductivity, there is a kind of a parent to make the superconductivity, and the parent means that as you see the semi the magnetism, strong magnetism, magnetic material. So when you change the electron, so from the moment it goes to 0, then it becomes superconductive. And so I believe that you may be familiar with this image. And there are a lot of the mother layers or the parent layers. There are more than 10 of them. And in any of the layers, when you add the electron to the anti-magnetic, it becomes the superconductive, and it may look like the superconductivity of a cuplet, but it's so simple. And the highest temperature is attained. So it's so this is called 1, and the phase diagram in this case, the ferrous, the fluoride temperature is only reflected 20%. And is it really telling the truth? And so we replaced the oxygen, part of oxygen to fluoride. And so we thought that we cannot tell anything. So we needed to change something dramatically. And so we thought about the hydrogen minus and the negative of the hydrogen. So we thought that we will place the hydrogen minus here. And by doing so, the hydrogen can replace actually 100% of the hydrogen. This means that when the hydrogen 2 minus is replaced with the hydrogen minus, then there will be 1 electron to be left. And so with this, the superconductive dome is closed, and I thought that the problem is over. But when you add hydrogen, and this can reproduce this phenomena, and in fact, there's another mount. The peak here as another phase of the superconductivity, and actually these are very two different phases of the superconductivity, and so it's a T to the power of 2, which is the temperature that is the first. Superconductivity is dependent on. With the T1 is actually the Fermi liquid, and which is known to be highly conductive. And so this phase diagram, how we to think about it. So that is something that we worked with the KEK, and we went into the experiment using multi-ring with KEK. Counterparts. What we want to know is so there's the phase, and whether there's a parent in the second superconductive phase. So we looked into the muon, the neutron, and also the radiated light X-ray, and we focused on running this the rapid experiment cycle. First, the neutron diffraction. So you can see, of course. So 0.5, so the parent. So the idea is that the parent may exist in the second the superconductive mount, and then there's there's a phase of antiferrous, and when we look at the muon 0.50, all disappears, and so the muon. So here. So basically, the superconductivity goes down very rapidly, and then the magnetism goes up. This is a very high sensitive measurement, and so the superconductive the phase disappears, and then the magnetism phase starts appearing, and the 0.5, it is clear that there's a parent. And also with the neutron, so this is the X-ray. There was an unexpected result, and normally the parent on the left, is so it turns to orthorhombic when the temperature goes down. But what replaces orthorhombic is here, and it actually splits into 1:1. But in this case, it's split to 2:1. So it's not that simple. Normally, it shifts, but the iron and the arsenic were moved into the opposite direction. Without the carrier, it's going to be the strong the conductive phase, and then so it's going to split. So the symmetric layer will be lost, and so we found out that there's such a the layer and also the phase.
And as a result, what we found out, if you compare between left and right, there are parents on both ends. And ST1 and ST2 are children of those two parents. So all the way to the left-hand side, you see AFM or AF1. So if you dope with electron with reversal symmetry, then F1 comes in. But on the other side, if you put a hole, SC2 can be generated. So the electron and the hole are completely opposite. And so this is not the parent, but if you go to conductivity domain, it's quite different. And if you look more in details, these things right there. Yes, this one. Yeah, you may not be able to see it, but there was an overlap indeed. There's no overlap, by the way, this one. So getting into detail, they're very different things. And TCs are quite different too. And parent layers, parent phase is much more different because AF1 is a very straightforward magnetism. AF2, the newly found one, is the it's a teams without inversion symmetry. If you keep increasing the temperature with that, the electric becomes nematic. It's a polar nematic. So polar nematics layers have started to show up. It became potent and creating the anti-reversal magnetic without reversal symmetry. And compared with the left-hand side, the newly found, the magnetic moment is 50% bigger on Fe2. So the parents are quite different in its properties. And this is the very the parent that we found. Many probes like muon, X-ray, and the SARS. All of these different sources are being used, and there's another parent layer phase. So this magnetic phase is very complicated, and the phases for magnetism usually it becomes antiphylon. If you put more carriers, it becomes superconductivity. If you put the electron, it becomes regular ion. That's the regular phases. But this one is quite different because it kind of returns back, and there's another parent. So that was a huge finding. And 50K summary mode, it has that. But what would make it without 50Ks or more? What you see is this is the source that we are using. If you change the pressure, this right there goes above 50K. Go above 50K. Submarine with the highest temperature, if you do the research around that, both of them actually have both side comes with the parent phases. So there were two parent phases. When the of them come together, they are not fighting each other. Those two come together, and that is the condition in which 50K or higher can be delivered. So it was an addition, nothing more complicated. The other topic is this is a really practical application. Indium gasoline oxide, we call it IGZO, and we call it let's go in English because IGZO is let's go. Yeah. was supposed to be funny. But IGZO, back in 1950, I proposed that first time, and we taped to KFT in 2002. And actually, industrial application started in 2010, whether for smartphone or surface property. The biggest one is the OLED in 2015. If you go to electric appliance stores, so everything was IGZO. Without IGZO, this was never become reality. So this is something that only thing I can proud of to my kids. I go to take my kids to the home appliances stores, but none of the kids would like to follow me. I guess I did it too much. And this is the so the thin layer membrane, you cannot take it. You have to, if you spatter the layer. So characterization of the thin membrane is something that I gave up with. But we can do it without any preparation process. And if you take it, there's a huge absorption. I couldn't believe my eyes. But this is very filament. So even if you take it to the other side, it just stays there. So it's a low energy consumption. That's the reason why it doesn't consume a lot of energy in creating that. So this is the quantum beam that was very used in real application, practical. And we also decided to use muon, Kadobo-san's group in KEK, and we had a very close collaboration in this research. Because muon is a great, one would say, it's a great probe to hydrogen. I couldn't believe that, but it actually was very powerful. Within IGZO, hydrogen, there are more than 20 powers of that. So there are tons of electrons within hydrogen. But nobody understood why that's so. But we done calculation, we did the experiment. As a matter of fact, we found that it's right there. It's a construct for here. Why has this happened? And we are trying to understand why that happens and running an experiment. But this is the property. So the light shines on, electrons spans on. That makes that messes things up. And we wanted to do the testing using muon, because with muon, you can tell different H minus, H plus. And there were actually a lot of H minuses. And we did a lot of researches around that. We found out later about half of it is H minus. We have 20s and powers of tenths of the hydrogen. They are all half of them, more than half of them are H minuses. And so that was the more than half the constructs of the top half. Is that oxygen is minus, so nobody thought there were H minuses, but there are tons of H minuses. And that was proven. Muon's experiment gave a suggestive result about that, and I'm very appreciative about that. And this is the last slide, my expectation and request to KEK. We are running project more than 10 years together. Initially, we focused on property research, material research, and it's using large-scale facility is emotionally challenging, right? It's a huge pressure. But now young people are making it very casually, so day-to-day casual interaction is, I think, very important for us to create new findings. And the second one is quantum beam is essential tool nowadays. One of the essential tools nowadays for material development. This is not a special tool. How can we use it? And how can you quickly run the turnovers very quickly, because that's very important that we repeat iterations very quickly. And that's my expectation or request to KEK. And material science is currently under the huge transformation, and with the digital transformation. So MDX with the quantum beam is going to be a very critical research area. So this is another area I hope to see from KEK in more development.
細野様、ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much. This was Mr. Hosono.
「 ステージ上の転換をいたしますので少々お待ちください。
Just a minute, please. We'll change the stage.
それでは最後に主催者を代表いた
Lastly, but not least, representing the organizer for this event, I'd like to welcome Shinichi Adachi, who's the executive director at KEK, to give us the closing remark.
本日は
Thank you very much for joining us to celebrate together of the 50th years anniversary on the for KEK, physically here and or remotely. And we have received many encouraging message as well as words of congratulations and thank you very much for that. During this event, we showed you the video celebrating the last 50 years of KEK about its achievement was shared together with all of you. Dr. Sugaura, Dr. Kobayashi, and Dr. Hosono gave us also reminded the passages of KEK as well as future of KEK. KEK has this catch copy saying this is the world that only we can see with the high energy facility. I'd like to thank you very much for your presentation. We will run 2 days programs. This will be a remote virtual event about KEK. I'm sure there are a lot of passionate discussion about last 50 years and also 100 years of the history of KEK. With that, I'd like to close the ceremony today. Thank you very much, everyone.
足立理事ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much, Mr. Adachi, Executive Director at KEK.
これをもちまして
With this, we'd like to conclude High Efficiency Accelerator Research Organization's 50 years anniversary ceremony program. Please wait for our staff to guide you for escorting you out. Please be seated. And simultaneous translation receiver needs to be returned at the reception. Please do not forget your belongings. Thank you very much for your participations today.